Welcome back to another video on the Whizzer build series. Today we are going to be making a returning pull cord to make starting the engine much more convenient. I do still have the original pull cord, it works just fine. There's a slight bit of rust at the bottom where it was sitting for so long. But the reason why I don't use it is because it interferes with the throttle cable and it hits my leg when I'm on the footrest. That and it messes up the airflow because it's designed to suck air through the fins and then blow it through the side of the engine. I don't need that just because it's a motorcycle now, so there's wind blowing from the front. The other reason is I think having exposed mechanical pull start would just look so much better, and it would actually fit the style of this bike. So let's see what we can do. Now I'm not starting off from scratch because a few months ago I decided to do the same thing and try and build a pull start. So I do have a few leftover parts from that. I have an adapter. It's just a castle nut with some thread stock welded in it, and there's a rod on top. A recoil clutch or starter clutch to like an old pull start lawnmower. That slots right down on top of that. And it does thread in. I only have one hand right now, so I'm not going to use that. And this is the pulley itself. As you can see, square piece in there, square piece there. Fits all together. So by the end of it, it looks something like that. A little more compact once it's squeezed together. But that is what it should look like in the end. The reason I gave up is because... Get off there. Because I found out that this piece, the adapter piece itself, the rod is slightly too small for the inner race of this. So if you pull on it, it has a chance to pop the cap off of this, and it just falls apart. So the first step we have to do is make a way to hold this cap on a lot tighter than it is right now. I'll be back when I figure out a way to do that. I ended up deciding to go see if all the screws were still there where I left them, and the 4 screws that originally came with this actually fit right on the ridge perfectly. Quality probably isn't the best, but you can see they all do grab on to the side of it. So this really did work out in my favor today, because all I had to do is just thread these 4 screws in. So now, next step, we'll be putting it back together and putting it on the engine so we can find out what else we have to do. I have the old pull start and flywheel guard off. Little flywheel nut too. And now, we have the assembly on. It sticks out a decent ways, but if it does work, I'm fine with it rubbing up against my leg occasionally. I did pull it once. If I were to do this before, it would just fall apart completely. Like I'd have to pick up the little balls from the starter clutch. But now I can pull it over, and when I got it on, I pulled it over once to see if it would hold together, and the engine started, so that's a good sign. The cord didn't wrap around the flywheel or anything, so that's good. Now the next step is making a little guide rail for the line. I'm thinking of having a piece of metal mounting here and coming off kind of like an L where it sticks up, just so we can have the line go through and it'll stay right there, so whenever it returns it'll only go right to there. That way is when the engine starts too, as soon as we let it go, it won't just fly around into the flywheel. It'll just stay right there. So I'll be back when I figure out that. It's been about an hour and I managed to come up with this. Very simple design. It's just a flat piece of metal I found in the scrapyard out back. I bent it here and then I twisted it here so that just to change the angle that it's at. And now, I don't know what happened to it. The cord was in there. So now, it actually holds it. It doesn't move. I tightened it down quite a lot too. I just used an extra bolt I had. So now it looks pretty good. It's strong enough. I don't want it to be too strong just in case this does lock up and pull it. I don't want to break the engine. I'd rather have this bend first. So I'm quite happy with that. And I have right down here, I have a little bolt just because I saw that there's a gap here. So if it wanted to slide forwards, it could go right into the flywheel. There's not much of a gap here. So I just found that, locked it down, so now it can only go so far in that direction. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. It's looking nice. Next step will be to drill another hole somewhere on here, so we can have an elastic or spring or something to pull it back. So I'll get back when I get that. I got the hole for the elastic drilled on the pulley, and I also have another one on this, I don't even know what you'd call it, mount, rest. Anyways, I got both the holes drilled. I'm not going to use the elastic because I couldn't figure out how long I would need it to be so that when I pull it out fully it would work. So I just didn't put it in. But I can still do this. It's all finished, and it actually does work. When the engine starts, it doesn't return, but the drag from the clutch, the oil in the clutch, pulls it forwards, so it wraps the cord around the other way, which I don't really care about too much because it's still much more convenient than me having to pull a cord out of that saddlebag and then wrap it around, fold it up, put it back in. So I'm very happy with this, and it does work because I've started it up one time and everything seemed fine with it. So next step to do will be start up on camera. This is just going to be a quick startup just to show off the pull start. Not going to rev it up or anything, but still going to run. It's -2 today. Oh. I think that was a good little run. I like the look of the pull start too. It fits the style of the bike. Little clunky, but still works just fine. And you can see what I mean though. Because I don't have a spring or any elastic, I have to do this every time I have to rewind it. Which I'm still fine with. Because it's way more convenient than the saddlebag. So, I hope you enjoyed this video.